Alrighty, hello everybody. Welcome to the next episode of the Natural Podcast. I'm here with my buddy and good friend Mike. He's on his last year of being a chiropractor is what we're going to talk about today. Chiropractic and what it can do for you basically. So yeah, he's on his last year of chiropractic at Sherman College of Chiropractic, and we're just going to go over some questions and how basically it can benefit you. So go ahead and just give a little introduction about yourself, and then, let us know what is chiropractic and, what made you get into it exactly.
Definitely. Well, so happy to be here, Adrian. Love what you're doing for the following that you have. So, like you said, I'm Michael Cohen. I'm 26 years old. I'm in my final year of chiropractic school at Sherman College of Chiropractic up here in the upstate of South Carolina. Absolutely love what I do, love what it does for people, and love what it does for my own health. Chiropractic is really what I consider the greatest form of health care. What it exactly is where we study misalignment of a bone in relationship to the one above and the one below. When it misaligns, it has an occlusion. It puts pressure on the nerve in relationship to that bone, and there's an interference between the brain and the body and the communication there. And for me, why I went to chiropractic school, why I got involved in chiropractic, is because when I was 18 years old, I was actually sent to a chiropractor because I was diagnosed with what the world calls diabetes when I was 8 years old. And from 8 to 18, my blood sugars were on this up and down roller coaster. I was sick literally every 2 weeks to every month. I was coming down with some sort of cold, flu, something in that nature. And I just really was unhealthy. When I got sent to that chiropractor at the age of 18, in the first 90 days, there's this test that diabetics get done every 3 to 6 months called the HbA1c. Right before I went to that chiropractor, I had it done, and my HbA1c was at a 10, which is not good at all. It means my blood sugars were in the mid to upper 200 range averagely on a daily basis, which is very, very unhealthy. You want your blood sugars between 70 and 120. So within 3 months of going to that chiropractor, my HbA1c level went from a 10 to a 6, which is non-classifying diabetic level. Doesn't mean I was not a diabetic anymore, but just means my blood sugar had come down to a stable level, which is exactly what we wanted. So that's really what got me on fire for chiropractic. And I said, well, if this chiropractor can do that for me, I would love to be able to do that for other people.
Yeah, it's a really amazing story. I remember you telling me a little bit about why you got into it, but I guess I don't remember that last part, but that's really interesting, how it helped you with all that. So, I know you said how it benefited you with that, and a lot of people, when they look at a chiropractor, they think, oh, like I only need one when I get in a car accident or I hurt my back at the gym and stuff like that, and it was you that really put me on to getting a chiropractor, just for regular reasons. So I guess my question here is, how can it really benefit a regular person that doesn't think or doesn't really have any problems that they know of?
Yeah, definitely. That's a huge misconception that people walk around saying, I don't have any problems. And the funny thing is, most people, when they think of chiropractic, like you said, they think of car accident, headache, neck pain, back pain, which is very, very common reasons for people to seek out a chiropractor. But people don't really understand that chiropractic is really for overall health and optimum health. So, this nerve interference, 90% of your nerve deals with function. The last 10% is when you start to feel the pain. So people don't understand that they could be having a nerve interference issue where your brain and body aren't communicating properly for a very, very long time before they start to realize, hey, I've got an issue. So chiropractic is definitely beneficial for people who, quote unquote, don't think they have an issue, or for people who are already suffering from a wide variety of issues. Because, like I said, it helps the body function at its highest level. If if you were working out in the gym, Adrian, which we all know you do because you're super fit and you love to personal train people and you're on that lifestyle. If you were working out in the gym and I told you, hey, you were only able to work out to your 60 or 70%, wouldn't you want to go, hey, how do I get to that 100%?
Hmm. Yeah, of course.
That's exactly what chiropractic does. Chiropractic lets you break through that barrier that you have, get to the optimum level of function and health so you can continuously work out at your highest level. You can live and function at your highest level.
Hmm. That's interesting. And just so there's not a little confusion, what people are saying when you're saying like, get to that level, you're saying recover faster and get stronger faster because your body's able to heal quicker because of that alignment. Like I remember when I went to the chiropractor, they were telling me it's like a hose. When there's a kink in the hose, water doesn't come out as good. So it's like the same thing with your back. Those nerves that go through your head and your spine, that loses the signal, which is like that water going down a hose. You lose that signal, so your body's not getting the signals it needs, to heal and stuff like that. So
Exactly. It's like tying a rubber band on your finger. When that rubber band is there, it makes the blood all fill up on the edge of the finger, and it's there. So if you had that rubber band, that interference is what I'll relate it to on your finger. What would be the best way to help get that blood to stop pooling up at the end and to get the blood to flow properly?
obviously take away the band or the rubber band. Yeah.
Exactly. So if you look at your finger and it's filled with blood and the blood's not flowing at its proper level or its proper manner, if you take a pill for the blood being there and you take a blood thinner because you go, hey, all this blood is pooling up and you go, I need to take a blood thinner while that rubber band or that interference, that blockage is still there. You're looking at it from an outside perspective. You're looking at, hey, how do I affect it outside in instead of inside out? So when you remove that rubber band, boom, and the blood is able to flow properly. That's an inside out perspective.
I like that a lot more. I'm not gonna lie, from the hose one. I mean, that the hose is a good example, but that kind of made it a little more clear for me. But another question I want to brush up on is like, so let's say someone gets in a misset alignment or something like that, or maybe their bone is like hitting into another one. I don't know exactly what that's called, but like, how can that really affect someone, and what, let's say they have that misalignment that causes that kink, which, is that restriction you're talking about. Like, what can that really, mean to someone and mess them up?
Definitely. So let's get the verbiage clear so everyone can fully understand that. What you're saying is a misalignment. When it has these four components to it that I touched on earlier, you have the misalignment, the occlusion of the foramen that the bone has. There's pressure on the nerves, and there's interference from the brain to the body and the body back to the brain. We call that a subluxation. So when people have subluxations, all those components happening in their spine, what it does is it inhibits, like we were talking about earlier, the brain and the body and the body and the brain and the communication there. So when that's not functioning properly, like we said, their overall health is being diminished. They're not able to function and recover and live at their highest level, at that optimum level. So when that happens for somebody and they go get that taken care of from a principled chiropractor, someone who really finds that exact bone that came out so they can put it back in the proper manner, they're able to, like we were saying before, they can function better, they can recover better, they can live better, their immune system goes up, and their overall total body health is going to function even better.
Hmm. And now that I'm thinking about it, I know you do Nuka, which is like a different form, and a lot of people don't know about that form. And then how there's regular chiropractic. So one thing I do want to brush up on is like, what is the difference between those two? Because I remember you explaining me how it's much better to do the Nuka because it starts from where the problem originates, which is that first bone, the atlas. So maybe you can go over a little bit about that too. I think that'd be good.
Definitely. So Nuka is one of the upper cervical techniques. I practice upper cervical chiropractic here at the Sherman College Health Center. That's overseen by our clinic over here at school. And the reason why I do that is because exactly what you were saying before, Adrian, is that's the exact cause of the problem. I don't want to treat your symptoms or treat exactly where the pain is, yeah, we will address that pain and we'll address the symptoms that you have, but we need to find what's causing that exactly. If you have a low back pain in your lower back and you're thinking, hey, that's the issue, but there's no misalignment there, there's no occlusion, there's no pressure of the nerve, and there's no interference down there, there's no reason for me to address that low back. When we look here at the top two bones in the neck, this is where your brain actually has the brain stem, your medulla oblongata, your control center of your body is here at the first two bones of the neck. When we find out the misalignment there, that's what starts to cause all the other problems in the body and the lower back and the mid back and the pelvis and the legs and all these other reasons, all these other issues that people start to have. So what happens is, what's really easy way to understand this is what's called the righting reflex, where your body always wants to look level with the horizon. So if that top bone, that C1, that atlas vertebra comes off, it makes your head tilt. Now for your body to compensate from that, it wants to drop this shoulder to bring your head back up, and it's going to pull your hip up. So it all starts to try and balance the eyes back out. Now what that does is, because your head's tilted over, your body's tilted here, and your hip starts to pull up, it starts to put a muscular imbalance in the body. Now that starts to pull really hard on the low back because those muscles are trying to balance out to bring your eyes back level.
That's interesting. And, it kind of made me think just now, because with my clients, I notice a lot of times when I'm working out with a client, especially when they're lunging for the first time, or even when they're squatting for the first time, you could see how they tilt to one side, or, they'll do a jerky movement when they're lunging to one side. But over time, it'll get better. So one thing I'm kind of thinking right now, is it possible that exercise as well can help that, or do you not know much about that?
No, definitely exercise can help, but the question of what you're looking at, if that's getting better, their posture, it doesn't necessarily mean that the subluxations in their spine are getting better. It could mean that their other muscles that are compensating for the tilt are getting stronger, which is pulling the posture back to look better, but it's actually not correcting the cause of why that posture came off in the first place. So you could still be having a muscular imbalance with the personal training and the weightlifting, but that cause, that actual subluxation, may still be there, or it could totally be getting better. And when that happens, when the body starts to move better, because the spine loves movement, the spine doesn't want you to be staying still because there's fluid and joints in there. It wants to be moving. So it's totally possible with the movement and the proper training that you're giving your clients that the body's able to start to heal itself.
Yeah, it's very interesting. And it's funny you talked about the spine wanting to move, because you think about people most of the day. Most people have a desk job where they're sitting in a desk, they got their head tilted like that, and then that messes up their posture. And then on top of that, you got people on their phones all day looking down, and you don't really think about it, but over time that really affects you. And I even notice it when I'm working on my computer, because I do a lot of work from home now too. I'll be with my head bent, and then I have pain in my back and, soreness there, just from having my head down. It's hard to always keep it in that upright posture position,
Yeah, there's what I look at when I have my practice members come in to see me and they ask for some sort of recommendation for either exercise or dietary, or I believe that they need to start to change that. I look at it like this, in a foundational principle. Chiropractic has to be the number one, because the nervous system needs to work for the gut and for the muscles to be functioning at the highest level. So once your chiropractic is taken care of and your brain and body are communicating at full nature, at full possible capabilities, then I look at the dietary component of what's going on. Then they need to be eating well, and then they need to be exercising properly. But if you try and turn that order any different without having chiropractic and the nervous system clear first, then if you're eating really, really well, but your gut isn't absorbing the nutrients, then it really doesn't matter that you're eating super, super well it's still good for you, but it's not at the highest level. Your body's not taking all the nutrients that it's eating, and you're buying organic and non-GMO and really expensive food, trying to do really good for your body. But if your body can't absorb it, then it really has a smaller impact. Just like if your head is over here and your shoulders over here and your hip is up and you're going, hey, I really need to work on this to bring my shoulder back down. I really need to start working my neck out over here to bring my neck back over. It really isn't going to function properly or be the same impact on the body when the nervous system, the actual cause, is still there. Now you're getting really, really strong neck muscles or really, really strong lats and traps over here. So you're actually now starting to strengthen your body in an imbalanced mode. So that's why I always recommend to my practice members, and I live in myself, is I need to have a clear nervous system. I need to have my body and posture proper. I need to eat really well, and I need to exercise properly.
Mm-hmm. And that's really interesting how you said like absorbing the nutrients and all that, because it's almost crazy. It's like, people don't know about what the benefit of it is, and like how that can help you with little things like that. Like me, I went plant-based recently, and it really changed a lot of the way I feel. I'm not doing chiropractic anymore, but I remember when I could feel the difference, slowly, but it was like slowly coming better. And, just thinking about that, another question I want to brush up on, and that's kind of the reason why I stopped chiropractic, is just because it was really expensive and I didn't have insurance. So, like why is the cost so high, and why don't some chiropractors take insurance? Maybe you can brush up on that so people understand.
Yeah, for sure. And the thing with chiropractic is people can go out, most chiropractors go out and start their own practice. So the price is extremely subjective to whatever the doctor wants to charge for their area and for what they believe that their services are worth. So if you have someone living in Beverly Hills, or let's say, Star Island in Miami, the cost of living out there is extremely, extremely high. So for that business owner, that practice owner, to keep their practice alive, they're going to have to, associate that their cost, or what it costs to go into their practice, with the living, the business, the rent, the real estate, the cost of having, employees, all those things. So it's extremely subjective for the cost to save, because I know some chiropractors that have certain practices that we call box on the wall, which means they let their practice members determine what they want to pay for there, and they just put it right on a box, right in a little cash box on the wall, and let them do that. Or we have some other chiropractors that I know that charge, $120+ per visit, because of the area that they're in and what they believe that their services are worth. So it's extremely subjective to say that chiropractic's high, because it has complete range. It can be from $1 per visit to, hundreds of dollars per visit. So that right there is extremely subjective. When it comes to chiropractors taking insurance, chiropractors do take insurance. It's just becoming less and less every year, because insurance is not very beneficial for chiropractors. And then they have to do a lot of labor paperwork to file the insurance. So they have to pay someone, and it just doesn't really become cost versus reward for chiropractors to take insurance, because insurance pays so little, and they also pay so little visits to allow that practice member to go see the chiropractor. So it almost is like, say, Adrian, I need to see you for the next 3 months, because what we found on your x-rays, is going to take, from you being 25, 26 years old, taking you so long of degeneration going on in your spine and your lifestyle, that it's going to take more than 10 visits for that to be corrected, to get your body working at its highest level. I need to see you for 35, 45, 55, or 60 visits initially, until we get you on maintenance care, where we can see you less and less and less for the extended rest of your life. Because, we want to have you living extremely optimally for the rest of your life, not just start it, fix it, stop it, and then retrace back to the degeneration. Is if your insurance only pays for 10 visits, that means you're going to have to pay out of pocket for the next 40. And it's going to become strange to explain that to a practice member. And it's just really not worth it for me to go, hey, I need to pay this person $20 an hour to file insurance code at my front desk, when I can just have everyone pay cash at a lower rate to do it for everybody.
Yeah. And, while you're saying that, I was just thinking, because it's so funny, unfortunately, how the way things are, not really funny, but, it's just unfortunate the way things are, in America where insurance doesn't really benefit people who are trying to be healthy. Someone who would want to go to chiropractic to prevent diseases and all that stuff, they're going to save money down the road from not getting, cancer and all different kinds of diseases, which are going to hurt their body. Same thing as like, going to a holistic doctor. You don't really have insurance for that either when it's like natural remedies that are going to actually help with the root of the problem. They support, giving people pills and all this fake medicine, which is, at the end of the day, horrible for the body, and that's why I call my business Natural Fitness, because for me, it's all about doing things the natural way. That's, the way the earth was made. Yeah, we make all these things and some of them can be beneficial for us, but, we want to keep it as natural as possible. So, that's another thing that.
Would you mind if I add to that, Adrian?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
For me, I am fully supporting the medical field, because without it, when I was 8 years old, I would have not survived because my pancreas wasn't working properly. So I'm so thankful that they were able to come up with, when I first started taking insulin, it was from pigs is actually how they created it. They synthesized it. Now they have fully synthetic insulin. It's working even better. And it's so incredible, the miracles that the medical world has with certain medication. But when it comes to, let's look at, our society, we are actually number 42 in healthcare as a country. But we consume over 80% of the pain medication in the world, and we consume over 50% of the total prescription drugs in the world. It's kind of mind-boggling, right?
Yeah, no, definitely.
So when I look at things like that, I look at the medical field being a crisis care system, where when I got diagnosed, I needed to be in the hospital. I needed that. If I'm in a car accident, I have a broken leg, please don't take me to my chiropractor. Please take me to the ER so I can get medical crisis attention. Mm-hmm. But when it comes to true health care and not sick care, I look at chiropractic, I look at natural foods, I look at healthy foods, and I look at exercise and movement. Because over 85 to 90% of the nutrients to the brain comes from two things: posture and movement. Now, how do I immediately affect posture and movement? I take away the nerve interference that's causing my head and body to do this, and I bring it back on top where it should be, and I allow my body to have proper posture and proper movement so there can be proper nutrients going from my brain to my body and my body to my brain. And that's directly affected with true chiropractic care. And I say that specifically true principle chiropractic care, because if your chiropractor is over here trying to stretch you and move you and massage you and do all these physical therapy things, they're doing all those as addition, not just addressing the subluxation. What I do, and what I spent a lot of time over the last 3 years studying, is how to find the problem and fix the cause. So that way the body can truly heal from above down, inside out.
No, that's really interesting. And it's funny, you saying this is like reminding me that I need to really go back to the chiropractor, So it's like, probably as soon as I have like the money, I'm definitely going back, and doing that, So another question I want to ask, while we're on this kind of topic and stuff, is like, what kind of advice would you give, like, say someone's watching this right now and they're like, crap, like I kind of do feel like I've gotten worse over the time, like what advice would you give to someone who's seeking that, seeking chiropractic and stuff like that? Like, how do they know what doctor to look for? How, little things like that.
Yeah, definitely. Well, number one, if they're personal friends of you or personally able to get a hold of you and they're looking for a really, really great chiropractor, have them contact you with their location and zip code, and then you can forward that to me and I'll find one for them. Number two, if they're not able to do that, there's a lot of great websites to look for chiropractic, look for great chiropractors. One of my favorites is uppercervicalcare.com, and they're actually able to plug in their zip code and find a local upper cervical chiropractor that is truly specializes in what they do. So that's another great website to use. Another, obviously, like I said, that being the foundation, always finding the great chiropractor. Number one, that's the immediate change you could do. Number two is, look at a lot of their daily habits, look at the food that they put in their body, and look at the posture that they have at work, school, or just life in general. I always recommend keeping the shoulders back. If you're texting, like my phone here and I'm down here, you're putting so much strain on your spinal cord. For every inch that your head is forward, that actually and stretches your spinal cord, it actually puts an extra 10 pounds of pressure on your spinal cord for every inch. So you're putting your head down, looking at your phone, you're causing more pressure on your spinal cord. And that's the communication of your brain to your body and your body to your brain. So let's not wear it out quicker. Let's keep it healthier. Another thing, besides keeping the shoulders back and the head back and try and keep your ear over your shoulder, is just slight stretches before and after the gym. Now, like I said, you need to make sure that you're seeing a chiropractor as you're doing this, because if you're stretching and strengthening muscles without seeing a chiropractor, you're still going to have muscular imbalance in the body.
Mm-hmm. And it's funny that you mentioned that. I heard actually not recent, I think about 6 months ago, that having that posture, keeping your posture like that, increases testosterone by like 70%. I don't know if you heard about that.
I
Is that,
didn't.
is that like a spine related thing there, or is that?
Well, let's look at it from a physiological standpoint. So if they're finding that keeping proper posture is allowing testosterone and hormones to flow, increase of 70%, is that what you said?
Yeah, 70 or 60. I don't remember the exact number, but
Whatever it is, an increase in 60 to 70%. Well, let's look at this from a physiological foundational standpoint. The brain controls all the hormones. Now, if the brain has less pressure on it and less interference on it, because instead of your head being down here and your shoulders forward and rolled down, it's able to be in this expansion point and this healthy posture. That means the brain is able to run down to the entire physiology of the body, wherever the testosterone is, saying, hey, we need more, and it's able to flow fully. That's why, we hear amazing stories all the time with chiropractic of women that can't get pregnant or men that have low testosterone levels. And that's just, we could talk about diabetes and cancer and MS and ALS. And, obviously we can go as even superficial as the stereotypical low back pain, mid back pain, headaches, neck pain. All these things are getting help when the brain and the nervous system is clear to function at those proper parts of the body, and the body can then respond back to the brain saying, hey, we're doing good.
Yeah, it's very interesting. And it's funny because you say that, like a lot of people, I never really thought about my posture when I was younger. I always just kind of had that posture. And I think a lot of it had to do with like some insecurities as I was younger, but even just standing like that, it makes you look more confident. Like people don't think about it, that posture really just, it's overall better. It makes you look like, you care more about what you're doing, like you have more of a purpose. And then on top of that, the testosterone, and then how it also benefits your back. And it's interesting because I never knew that holding your head like that adds an extra 10 pounds, but it makes sense because when I have my head like that for a while, I feel that little tension going on in my back, and sometimes I feel like I need to like go at the end of a chair or like a bed and like, tilt my head back so I can fix it.
Yeah, man. So your body has this internal system that knows what to do. When you cut your finger, how does the body know to stop the bleeding and clot the blood there?
Send signals. I don't know.
Yeah, but it has a system that runs that. We call that the innate system. It innately knows to go, hey, the skin has been broken, the finger is bleeding, we need to send clotting factors there, we need to stop the clotting, then we need to send collagen, and we need to start to repair, it scabs over and it starts to repair the skin. Tell me that's not the smartest thing you've ever heard. The best doctor is not me, is not your neighborhood physician. It's the doctor that resides in you that says, hey, we turned an egg and a sperm into 70 trillion cells, aka a living body, aka Adrian Lammersdorf.
Mm-hmm.
That's the smartest doctor there is. I personally, as a chiropractor, as a chiropractic intern, a chiropractor to be, is I want to work with that knowledge. I want to work with the power that resides in your body. And I say, hey, that's the bone that's putting pressure on the nerve. That's not letting the brain and the body communicate properly. I'm going to figure out the misaligned direction. I'm going to correct it back in the proper manner, and I'm going to let the body do what it needs to do.
Mm-hmm. And it's funny because we already kind of brushed up on this, and I'm just thinking right now, I know you said some exercises such as putting your head back and stuff like that, and then there's also those like chairs you can lay on back that like lean you back or whatever, or upside down, not back. And then like there's also like this little thing that looks like a steering wheel of a bike. You can like push your lower back like down and stuff like that. So like what do you think about those extra, or also like I also was told one time I can lean my head at the end of a bed and that'll help a little bit. Like what are some exercises you'd recommend, and what do you think about all those like things that are out there?
So I'm a big fan, and I'll say it again, is number one, getting my spine adjusted where it needs to be and when it needs to be. Not too often, not too little, but exactly the right time, at the right place, in the right direction, because that's number one. Number two, those exercises are okay. I'm not a big fan of hanging upside down for extended period of time
Yeah,
because
that.
number one, it's going to make your heart work harder. Your heart's going to have to, and your spinal cord's going to have to pump the CSF out of your brain. So there's a lot of contradictions to those things, and you guys can do your own research on the internet and make sure you use valid sources. Like I said, if you're going to see a chiropractor and that is corrected, you can always bring your shoulder blades, your scapula towards the bottom bone on your body called your sacrum, and you bring those down and you can hold it there for 10 seconds. And you can do that 5, 10, 15 times a day just to start getting your posture back oriented. And that's going to help start, instead of having that forward shoulder posture, it's going to bring you back. And really, you can go more into the personal training aspect of that, but it starts to work your back retractors, like your lat, your rhomboids, your traps, stuff like that, just to start bringing your posture back. Other than that, I would really recommend when you go see your chiropractor, ask them, because everybody's different. Everybody has a unique issue. Everybody has a unique problem, a unique posture. That chiropractor that's directly affecting them will be able to give them more specific exercises.
hmm And it's funny because you mentioned the postures. I don't know why it came through my head. They have this thing that people make fun of people in the gym, imaginary lat syndrome, where people are walking around, with their lats popped up like that. So it's not to be mistaken with imaginary lat syndrome. It's really just holding your head high, the ears down under your shoulders, like you said, and then just pulling your scapula down. I was literally doing that as you were like saying it. I was like, oh, okay. So yeah, no, that's a good thing to know. Like, I think for somebody who wants to also like make a daily help for something like that. So those are some good topics. I don't know if there's anything else you want to go over. I think that's all the questions I have.
I really have, that's really the basics of chiropractic. That's, why I got into it, the benefits for you guys. I mean, the benefits for me is, I've continuously seen my insulin necessity go down over the last 8 years of being under upper cervical chiropractic care. I've went from getting sick, like I said, once every 2 weeks, once a month, to now I may come down with a cold once every year to 2 years, which is great. And that just boils down to me being a graduate school student where I don't sleep too much when I got studying to do and boards and national boards and other boards and testing and all that stuff. So, I know my body is functioning at its highest level. I go to my chiropractor once a week because I want to make sure I'm always functioning at my highest level. And as soon as my subluxations occur, I want to make sure they're getting corrected properly.
Yeah. Yeah. You saying that is just making me want to go even more. Like, I'm just like, it's really something I need to do.
It
Well, that's
needs to be
really
a
an amazing
priority.
story too. Like, just like what happened with you, and it's like, that's why you want to be a chiropractor, and like, that's what people, I think everybody should know at least one chiropractor, because like knowing you really made me realize how it can benefit me. Because me, I always just thought, oh, okay, you get an accident, that's why you go to chiropractor, and like I said before, that's what most people think, or like something happens to their back. But I think it's always beneficial to know somebody who's a chiropractor, and it's funny because like now that I think about it, I don't think there's many chiropractors that do any like podcast. I don't know any chiropractors that do like podcasts or anything, because that'd be like
There are quite,
to really
there are a few.
oh, there are, a lot of them.
Mhm.
I never look. But you know what I mean? Like, I think that'd be like a great thing for a lot of chiropractors to do, is just to get that word out there and how it can really benefit people. And, maybe get that into like, the healthcare system, and really make it something that, insurance can really benefit the chiropractor and also the people seeking chiropractic.
Definitely. I couldn't agree more. And I'm glad I was able to have that benefit on your life. And, now I think about all the people that you're going to be able to share chiropractic with. And, there's a great saying in chiropractic, you never know what you do, say, or think today can affect the lives of millions tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you are going to be my chiropractic, when we're when we're more established and where we want to be, and you're getting in your practice and stuff
Yep.
like that. So, in soon time.
Yes, sir. Well, I
All
look
right.
forward to taking care of you and your family and, all your friends that definitely can benefit from this. And, it's what I love to do, and I'm glad to see you doing what you love to do.
Exactly. All right. Well, anybody, if you have any questions, you can visit Mike over. I'm going to give his Facebook right now, facebook.com/Michael A.Cohen91. And you can also, if you're looking at Mike's side, you can find me. If you want to look at my podcast, it's the Natural Podcast on SoundCloud. Or if you want to find my business page, that's going to be facebook.com/, I think it's, I think it's Natural Fitness Official. So yeah, Natural Fitness Official. So facebook.com/Natural Fitness Official. So you can find me there. So thank you guys for watching. If you got any questions, you can reach out to Mike. If you're looking for a chiropractor, you can also reach out to me, and I'd be more than glad to help you guys out. So take care, guys, and thanks for watching.
Take care.